Hi. I am so nervous. Am I here? I'm here. Oh my God. It's so soothing. Oh, good. Yay. Hi. How are you? I'm sorry. This is my first time going live. New software, new platform. Never been on here before. And I was like, I'm going to try this. All right, here we go. So how are you? Hi, I'm Naomi. I have been a ghostwriter for ever, it feels like. So I help people write and publish their books. So today I thought I would go live and talk about the best books for new writers. You are here. Don't be nervous. You'll be great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love already. I am also live over on Amazon. So whether you're from YouTube or Amazon, thank you so much for joining me. And we are going to talk about some great books. It's also open Q&A. So if you have any questions about anything that I come up with, or even if I don't directly say anything about it, but if you have a question about something, feel free to drop your question into the comments and I will answer as many as I can until my kids go a little bit crazy, because they're apt to do. Hello, how are you? I've got all the books in a pile next to me over here that I'm going to be covering. All the books, because there are so many good ones. And I didn't even get to go through like my bookshelves upstairs or anything to pull. Like, I know that there are so many other books here. I know there are. But I'm just going to go through as many of my favorites as I could carry, basically. Are you already writing? Are you in the process of, or are you just getting started? Oh, this is where I see the other comments. Okay, I got comments there and I got comments here. Hi. Oh, Jessica and Kaylee. Oh, thank you so much. All right, so I'm going to have to put this up here so that I can see the comments for the people who are watching me on Amazon. Yee! Okay, hi. Are you ready? All right. Yee! So I'm going to start with my favorite books about writing mindset and the ones that really impacted my, not just my writing, but how I approach writing, how I approach my clients when it comes to writing their books, or even like my coaching clients when people come to me and they say, I just need a little bit of help with writing my books. There are a few books, quite a few, that all help me with mindset. This is going to be fun. I couldn't get my camera to sit right, so I have to like sit up on my knees on my chair to center myself in the frame. But of course, my books are all down there, so this ought to be fun. Anyway, okay, so the first one. Now, I know, because someone always tells me how Stephen King isn't even that great a writer, right? Like, he's never going to win a Pulitzer Prize or whatever. And if he's watching this, don't put me in your next novel. But anyway, he is the first author I bought like everything of. Like, when I just, like, prior to him, I didn't really follow authors that much. Now, granted, this was back in the 80s, so there wasn't following to do. But he was the first one that, as soon as I discovered him, I had to have all of his books. Like, he was the first author who I collected his books. So he's always going to have a special place in my heart. And besides that, you don't have to win a Pulitzer Prize to make a huge impact. Can I just say? So anyway, so he gets first dibs on any list that I give out. And there's two big reasons why I bookmarked. Bookmarked the two ways in which this book made such a huge impact on me. It really shaped my goals as an author. It shaped my entire mindset around writing in general. But the first one is, I wanted to mark them because I wanted to be able to read the quotes that I came out came up with right here. He says, "We are nearly finished. I doubt if I've covered everything you need to know to become a better writer, and I'm sure I haven't answered all of your questions. But I have talked about those aspects of the writing life which I can discuss with at least some confidence. I must tell you, though, that confidence during the actual writing of this book was a commodity in remarkably short supply. What I was long on was physical pain and self-doubt." And that paragraph opened up my eyes to the idea that my writing hero struggles with self-doubt. Even after this was he was writing this in 97. It came out in 2000, I think. He wrote it in 98 and it came out in 2001, something like that. And I had already been reading him since the 80s. And he was still struggling. Hi, Warden. He was still struggling with self-doubt. And to me, that was absolutely just life-changing. That it's okay. Not only is it okay, but it's 100% normal as a writer to struggle with self-doubt. So that really changed my life. The other thing is that really changed my attitude about writing is that writing is not about the money, right? Most of us, not all of us, but most of us know that in order to make money as an author, it's going to take a whole lot of work, right? There's a lot that goes into it. And we know that, and we're like, okay, but he really he really just changed my entire attitude about being an author as a career in general and how I approach it. And I think if you've ever followed me anywhere, TikTok, then you know my approach to writing, you know my approach to my clientele. You know how I approach everything, which is basically help. Like, if you have a chance to help, do it. And here's where that comes from, is this quote right here. Again, I wanted to read the whole quote. So, writing isn't about making money, getting famous, getting dates, getting laid, or making friends. In the end, it's about enriching the lives of those who will read your work and enriching your own life as well. It's about getting up, getting well, and getting over. Getting happy, okay? Getting happy. And to me, that really just shaped my whole approach to life. Like, not just writing in general, but just, hi, TikTok. Hello, Lorraine. How are you? Yee! I'm also live on Amazon. No, you are on Amazon. I'm also live on YouTube. Hi, Nervous Energy. Anyway, so this book is always at the top of all of my lists for writing because it's a nice memoir on the craft, on how it affected his life and the things that he learned in the process. But those two quotes were so powerful that they shaped everything about my adult life. And I mean, everything. They shaped the way I approach just about everything. So that's how this earned a top spot, at least on my lists. So Stephen King on writing. If you are new to writing, you seriously, it would only help you to get this book. Telling people to get over here. Eee! Thank you so much, Jessica. Next, this book isn't even about writing, but it is such a good book. It is such a good book. So this is Felicia Day, Embrace Your Weird. And I just love Felicia Day anyway. She's amazing. And like I said, this book isn't even really about writing itself. But if you like Felicia Day and you like her quirky, weird little energy, and you wish you could carry her around on your shoulder to just cheer you on, that's this book. It's like she is just, you have a little shoulder Felicia and she's just cheering you on. It's amazing. And the power behind this book really is in unlocking your creativity. It says embrace your weird, but it helps you do that by unlocking your creativity. So there is a life-changing quote in here as well, of course. I tried to pick out like my favorite quotes of all of these books so that I could share exactly why I love them all. But now this one is just a lot of authors. We know a lot of authors. We've all gone through this where we feel like, or we've come across others who are like, I have no talent. And if I'm not talented, then that's a sign that I shouldn't do this, right? Like we have this attitude that you have to be born with the talent, and that talent is not something that you can learn or pick up, right? And that's just not true. I hear a lot that a good writer should be a good reader. Would you also say part of that reading should be nonfiction books about writing? Because I have a hard time with nonfiction. Ooh, Elizabeth, that is a great question. Yish is going to be my answer to that. So if you have a hard time with nonfiction, you're not really going to absorb anything to do with nonfiction then. Like every time you go to read a nonfiction book, it's going to be so dry to you that you're just going to be like, in which case it might be better to go with something like Audible or listen to the Audible books or the audio books or something like that, or find a service like Summais, which is a great service, by the way, where they take an entire book and they skinny it down to like the most important pieces. So it ends up taking an entire audiobook and making it lean, like 15 minutes. Like now you can listen to the entire book and learn the biggest lessons in like 15 minutes. That might be something that works better for you. As far as in order to be a good writer, you have to be a good reader. I don't believe that. I don't think that that's 100% true. Mostly because once you start writing, you don't really have time to read anymore. So, I mean, sometimes you do, but a lot of times you don't. And what you are reading are reviews and critiques and emails and your own work. And it's just kind of part of the career. So Yish about covers that, right? Back to this. Okay. Creativity. It is not necessarily something you are born with. You can build it. And this is where the quote comes in that I love about this is, we cannot fix upon the idea that we are born a certain way and merely have to uncover our talents to reap rewards. We have infinitely more control than that. We drive our car. Our interests and talents are just the vehicles. You go Mercedes van with airbrushed tiger art on the side. Whatever we have to work with, get in and turn the key, because I'm sorry, everything rewarding in life requires effort, and that includes talent. So if you, and I just love this book because it was written to be like a workbook. Like there are all these little spaces where she wants you to like draw a bad horse. When she wants you to like go through and wreck the book, there are places in here where she tells you to doodle in the margins. She wants you to unlock your creativity and use her book in order to do that. So I just think that this book is again, it's not directly about writing, but if you are having a hard time unlocking your creativity or getting, sorry, someone decided to text me. But if you're having a hard time getting in touch with your creativity or unlocking any of that, if you feel inhibited in any way, like, oh, I can't do this in the story because I'm pushing things too hard and no one will get it. Let me tell you, someone will get it, and she'll teach you how to break down those boundaries. Not boundaries, break down those barriers. Boundaries are healthy. Barriers are not. I hope Ms. Jessica, that you are taking notes because I have a ton of good books. All right. This one, I love Becca. This Becca Symes book. I love Becca so much. Dear writer, you need to quit. I need tea because my throat is so dry. I'm sorry. I might end up having to do that a lot. I'm going through chemo and it is just drying me out. I am so glad that I'm almost over it, but it is just drying me out. Anyway, dear writer, you need to quit. I love this book. This is a huge mindset book. It goes through a ton of the different mindset myths that get writers stuck. And one of the things I love, and this is one of the reasons why, like, when people ask me about, like, what's your best tip for new writers? I always say, like, listen to all the advice. Everyone's going to start giving you advice. Listen to all of it. Then go through and decide what works for you. But it's like eating at a buffet, right? Take what you need and don't sneeze on the rest, especially during COVID. But anyway, this is where, this is where she really like hammers this home with questioning success you've had in the past. Like me, Becca has had a lot of writers come up to her and say something along the lines of, I never used to be a planner. I was always a pantser. And then someone told me that in order to write efficiently, in order to be productive, I had to start planning my novel. I had to start plotting beforehand. Why? If you know that you can write as a pantser, why would you ignore your past success in order to start planning just because someone else told you that you had to plan? Like, and like me, that was her, like, you need to quit doubting your past success. If you know something works for you, stick with it. Keep going. Now, if it doesn't work for you, that's when you want to go ahead and adopt a new strategy or adopt a new way of going about it, right? But if it works, why stop it just because someone else said it didn't work for them? Like, that doesn't make any sense, does it? So, and she goes through a bunch of other mindset shifts in this book. That just happens to be one of the biggest ones that I remember because it's the same. I hear the same complaints all the time from people is that, well, I used to be a pantser, but then I was told that I should start planning and now I just get nothing done. It's because you listened to someone you shouldn't have listened to. And don't get me wrong. If you really want to get confused about how to be an author, go into a group full of authors and ask them what you should do. Because you will get all the advice all at once. It's all going to contradict itself. And a lot of it is going to be from authors who are in the exact same place you are with very little to no more experience than you have. Very few of them have much more experience, at least of the ones who are commenting, because the authors with a lot more experience are busy. They can't sit on Facebook in groups. So they're busy. My feet are falling asleep. And so I can't keep sitting on my knees. But if I sink down, I will literally sink down and you won't be able to see me anymore. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. All right. More mindset shifts. If anything that I say resonates with you, please let me know in the comments. Because otherwise, if y'all aren't commenting, then I assume, probably incorrectly, that my live stream ended. And or I'm so boring, I have chased everyone away. Which, I mean, I've done it before. So that's okay. Totally okay. But if you get any like nuggets, if you learn something big, or if you have a question, please go ahead and share it in the comments. Because I do this to help people. And if it's helping, I feel great. I'm here. Everything you're saying is amazing. Oh, yay. Thank you so much. Yay. Okay, great. I'm so glad. All right, Writing Down the Bones. Have you seen this book? Natalie Goldberg. I love this book so much. First off, this book is like nice and tiny, and I love these like tiny books that fit in my coat pocket. I don't have my coat with me, obviously, so I can't show you, but it fits in my coat pocket. We have coat pockets, no pants pockets. But anyway, this is more mindset shifts delivered with a little bit of humor. So it's really great in that if you are struggling with imposter syndrome or anything along those lines, this first grouping of books is really going to help you. Thank you, Kaylee. Hi, Dale. I should wave this way, but sorry. Imposter syndrome is big. It is. It's big for a lot of us. And yeah, Jessica, I know. One of these days we're going to meet in person. I'm going to give you a great big imposter syndrome-esque hug. Sounds weird, and I don't know what an imposter syndrome-esque hug is, but you know what it is. Anyway, so she dives a lot into imposter syndrome, and there is one quote in here that I really wanted to read, and where is it? Here we go. We are important, and our lives are important, magnificent, really, and their details are worthy to be recorded. This is how writers must think. This is how we must sit down with pen in hand. We were here. We are human beings. This is how we lived. Let it be known the earth passed before us. What? Every story. This is why I love this. Every story is important. And I don't know about you, but daily, someone comes up to me and says something about, no one's going to read my story. No one cares about my story. I'm not author enough. I'm not writer enough. I'm not expert enough. I'm not big enough. Like so on and so forth. No one really cares about me or my story. And I am telling you, your story is important. This is Writing Down the Bones by Natalie Goldberg. It's a nice little, it fits in my coat pocket, which is why I love it. And like for a long time, I just carried it with me. Every time I needed to like grab a little bit of confidence. This book is very rarely far away from me. But yes, your story is important, which is why so many of my TikToks actually end up being, your story is important. Your story is important. Get it into words. Start talking about it, because it is. Okay, now this book, I actually did not even find on my own. The Right to Write by Julia Cameron. Someone else told me about this book, and I still to this day cannot figure out how I never heard of this book, because I go looking up books all the time. And this one is an invitation and initiation into the writing life, The Right to Write. It's more mindset again. And what I like about this one is it's not just, the other books are important as far as, hi, you have imposter syndrome, here's how to get over it. Or hi, you are a writer, so on and so forth. Start acting like it. Like all of those are important, but this one specifically gets into mood. And we all get into those moods, right? And this one specifically busts the entire myth about you have to be in the mood to write, which I love. I love that it does that. So right here, one thing I know about writing is that you do not have to be in the mood to do it, which I just said. But I also like underlined and flagged and all this other stuff, because it was always that important. And then what I like is that at the end of all of her chapters, I forgot to turn off my alarm. At the end of all of her chapters, she's got this initiation section, right? And so for the initiation tool, is any mood is a good writing mood. The trick is to simply Enter whatever mood, like a room, sit down and write from there. Try this brief experiment. Set aside 15 minutes. Identify a situation in your life about which you have a recognizable mood or emotion. For example, I'm angry at my partner. I love the fall leaves. I'm sad about my mother's health. I'm proud of my son's schoolwork. I enjoy Laura's humor. Writing longhand, enter a mood or emotion and write for 10 minutes. At the end of 10 minutes, stop. Take 5 more minutes and write about the shifts in your mood that the act of writing caused. Be an observer. I feel happier, sadder, angrier, less angry, hopeful, determined, whatever. Write a few notes on this process, a sort of field report on your experience, which I love. Hi, Spring, how are you? Just saw that you were going to go live. Oh, I'm so glad you made it. Yay. So that is what I really love about this book is so many people come up to me all the time and they always say something like, how do you get into the mood to write? I don't. I use the mood I'm in to write what I'm going to write. Now, sometimes depending on the mood that I'm in, it might determine what scene I'm going to write. I might like if I am already in an angry mood, that's a good time to write a fight scene, or something like that. But like she says, any mood is a good mood to write as long as you are aware of it and can take advantage of it. The other thing I really love about this book is she helps get rid of that idea that your book has to be popular to be good, or that traditional publishing equals this was a good book. And if you can't get into traditional publishing, then that means that the book is bad. And we've all read traditionally published books we hate. We've all read self-published books we love. And so obviously the path to publishing has nothing to do with whether or not the book is good or bad, right? And she takes care of that here as well. Writing for the sake of writing that draws its credibility from its very existence, is a foreign idea to most Americans. As a culture, we want cash on the barrelhead. We want writing to earn dollars and cents so that it makes sense to us. We have a conviction, which is naive and misplaced, that being published has to do with being good, while not being published has to do with being an amateur. We treat the unpublished writer as though he or she suffers an embarrassing case of unrequited love. We say things like, you may not want to put all your eggs into one basket, and you might want something to fall back on. Books proliferate on what we should write and how we can write for the market. There's not much advice along the lines of write what makes you happy. There is something patently foolish, it would seem, in doing something just for the love of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not necessarily an advocate for write just for the love of it. But I do say, and the reason for that is not that you shouldn't love writing. We're here because we love writing. I just got a bunch of books off your list. Oh my God, Kaylee, yay! But we're here because we love writing already, right? Obviously, we already love writing. That's why we're here. But I am an advocate for you got to know what you're doing with your book and have a strategy for it, and not measure your book's success based on some weird antiquated notion of being published. I just told myself today that I need to worry less about writing for an audience and write what is genuinely me. Yes, exactly. Be authentic. Your story is important and it should be authentically you. 100%. I hope this goes away soon. Monday, Monday is my last chemo treatment, and I am hoping that means everything else is going to like clear up and my skin will feel better. All right. You are a writer, so start acting like one by Jeff Goins. I almost didn't put this on this list because this book is like a very thin version of just about all the other books in one place. But then I decided that that's why it needs to be here, because it is a very thin book, meaning that it covers a lot of different points that some of these other books covers, all in one like really fast read. So it's a really good book for just I need a quick hit of confidence type of thing. And the other thing that I really like about this book, and that I do with all of my clients, is that the very first chapter, he talks about you are a writer, start claiming the title. And he actually tells you to go everywhere. Go everywhere and start adding the title to your name. So go onto Facebook and writer or author, whichever title you want. Writer means you get paid to write. Author means you are writing with the intention of putting your writing through a formal publishing process, whether that be self or traditional. But in writing, you are getting paid for the actual act of writing, not necessarily for the publishing. It's really the only real difference. There's nuances and whatever, but fine. Go to social media, go to your profiles everywhere, go to your email newsletter, go to your Gmail, all of your signatures, and add the title to your name. Proclaim that title. I really love that he has that exercise right at the very beginning. And it's the same thing that I do, because with my clients, even not even just only my clients, but like anyone really that gets like one of my planners or onto my email list, or gets one of my free books somewhere, the outlining template, for example, the very first page in any of those tools is a title page with your name as the author name. And that's why, like, it is so hard to market your book. It's so hard to build an author platform, and it's so hard to start selling anything. It's even harder if you can't even call yourself an author yet, right? So this is one of the exercises that I start with all of my clients. Great, you're not published yet? Okay, you're still an author. Claim it, put it out there. Start telling everyone else, and you'll start believing it. And that's a huge activity. So there's that one. Okay. Last one in the mindset. I still have a bunch of others to go through, but this is the last one in the mindset category, and that is Bird by Bird by Lamott. I got something in my eye. So this book, not right now. Can you press the rest of no, I will later. Good start. Go on. Okay. Anne Lamott. Wait, what is this? I don't even know what this is, and I do not remember saving this. Okay. You ever do that? You love Anne Lamott. And this is an amazing book, right? Well, I mean, a lot of her books are amazing, but you might be talking, she's got like 20 books out, right? So you might be talking about one of them, but she's a great author. And I love the way that she delivers all of her stuff. But specifically, this book talks about writing as a journey. Now, I've been saying for a long time, studied in university. Yes. All right, nice. So I've been saying for a long time that the writing a book changes you as a person. You grow from it. You do not, it's like going to therapy, honestly. you do not end the process the exact same person that you were when you started the process. You go through growth, you become much more self-aware, and through that awareness, you are able to take action on a lot of things. And she summed up the exact same thing, but she summed it up here. Writing has so much to give, so much to teach, so many surprises. That thing you had to force yourself to do, the actual act of writing, turns out to be the best part. It's like discovering that while you thought you needed the tea ceremony for the caffeine, what you really needed was the tea ceremony. The act of writing turns out to be its own reward. You grow just through the act of writing. You learn so much about yourself, so much about the world around you, and about how you view the world around you. It is really an eye-opening process, and you are never the same. It really is. The act of writing really is like going through therapy. And she covers that so well in this book, but Bird by Bird. And I just love it. Do we have any questions on mindset or anything before I know I got through mindset. That was the biggest chunk of books. I've got others, but that was like the biggest category that I covered because they're my favorites. And because when I was new, that's what I struggled with the most. And so, I mean, I don't know if everyone else struggles with mindset type of questions the most or not, but that was like, I felt when I was new, I felt like, oh, well, grammar and spelling and all that, that's going to be easy to learn. Getting over the self-doubt, that's a lot harder to learn. All right. Well, there might be a delay in the comments. So I'm just going to keep going. And if I see any comments come up with questions, I will just pause and answer them. All right. So the next batch grouping category of books that I'm covering are on the craft of writing itself, plotting and process. I know. Now, if you're a pantser, and I just said plotting, don't like freak out, panic, and leave me, okay? Because whether we like it or not, everyone plots. That's why I normally use planning and pantsing. Everyone plots. It's just that planners plot first, and pantsers plot while they're writing. They plot on the go. Tell me about it. I'm torn between wanting to submit my book to agents and telling myself that it's nowhere near good enough. Oh, Demi, no. Let me tell you, it is good enough. At the end of my list, I've got two motivational thwackers that I want to show you. And trust me, your story is good enough. Your query, like that might need work. I don't know. I was talking to a bunch of agents on Clubhouse not very long ago. I don't know, a couple months. I mean, not very long ago. It's so subjective. I know. But anyway, and they were saying that 70% for all of them across the board, like 70% of the time when they turn down a book idea, it has nothing to do with the book idea and everything to do with the query letter. So your story is good enough, trust me. Plus Sharknado. Your story is good enough. All right. So, and if you're really, really wondering, then some of these books might help you put together a structure. So, Christopher Vogler, The Writer's Journey. He takes Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey, which is beat sheet for screenwriters, turns it into novel format. And he goes really into depth into creating a hero in a novel and running them through this journey. Thank you, Sharknado. You're so welcome. So it's if you are writing any kind of like epic fantasy or mythic anything, this book goes into mythic structure and heroes like in depth. This one happens to be the 25th anniversary edition, which is pretty big. I do also have the original one somewhere. Here it is. I turned the wrong way. I do also have the second edition one, which, as you can see, is much, much smaller. So this book has a lot more, and as a result, it is a lot more expensive. But if you are looking for someone to help you break down all the blockbuster movies that you see and how they are structuring that story to keep people engaged, you love Joseph Campbell. Isn't he great? Christopher Vogler did a really great job of turning the screenwriting process into a novel writing process. Speaking of screenwriting, Save the Cat writes a novel. Jessica Brody did with Save the Cat what Christopher Vogler did with Hero's Journey, and that turned it into a beat sheet for novelists. Now, between the two, this one's my favorite. I will almost always aim for this one before I reach for that for the other one. Mostly because most of my books are not mythic, epic adventures, but they are, they are still adventurous, historical fiction or nonfiction. A lot of my, like for my clients, it's almost all nonfiction. So this one happens to work really great with memoir style or nonfiction books, creative nonfiction, and just about any other fictional book. That one I will always reach for when needing to write, like I said, mythic. The only difference is I love Save the Cat, good rec. The only other one that I would not recommend or would not reach for is if I'm writing a romance, I go for Romancing the Beat instead of either of these two. But this one, it goes into, I love the way she takes the screenwriting process and turns it into a novel writing process, like first and foremost. But she goes into the why and exactly like what makes up the catalyst. Why does it need to be short? Why does it need to be where it's at? And what is its purpose? Not just here's what happens, but literally what is its purpose and what does it need to do to the reader, to the characters, to the side characters, and to the plot. And I love the way that she breaks that down. Susan May Warren, The Story Equation. This is another plotting process, much shorter. The process itself is she just does this like no nonsense approach to it. Now, the processing itself is not all that different from the processing of the others. Excuse me. But what she does do here, what Susan May does do, see that? Is she goes in depth into character development inside the plot, which I love. So those two books, they really focus on the plot itself and the development of the plot, but they don't really go into character development as much, which, I mean, it makes sense. It's a whole other thing. I get it. And this one, she really puts together a new, not a new, but she really puts together a plot structure here that helps you engage with the characters. And if you are a character-driven reader or writer, then this is a must-have. Okay. Finding your voice. less Edgerton. Now, this book, people say to me all the time, and I'll bet if I say, hey, raise your hand if you've ever had this fear. I want to write a book about insert topic, whatever that is, vampires. That's one of the ones I'm working on right now, historical fiction, vampires. I want to write a book about vampires, but it seems like it's been overdone. And every time I turn around, there's a new vampire coming out, and the world is done with vampires, right? Enter this. Because I'm telling you, when someone tells you, yeah, but you haven't written a book on vampires yet, it's exactly what this is. This is learning how to find your voice. That yes, you might be writing one of 40 new novels on vampires, but yours is going to be different because it's got your experience, your viewpoint, your rose-tinted sunglasses, historical vampires. Yee! Yes, Dale, yes. But it's got all of your personality all throughout the book. If no one had any personality in their book, all of our books would sound the same. So this is, if you are really having a trouble with how to put your personality into your writing and how to separate your writing from others who are writing about the same or similar topics, he will help you pull it out. And your writing will be yours. And I don't mean that in like a big old ego kind of way, but it will be your writing. Readers will instantly be able to recognize you through your writing. Believe it or not, I'm not completely sure of my writing voice. I just write. I know your writing voice. Oh, Spring. You have a great writing voice, by the way. We all do. And I think you do know your writing voice. You just might not be able to define it. But you know how I know that you know? I think you have a better idea about your writing voice than you realize. And the reason I say that is because, so for context, I am helping Spring edit one of her books. It's a really good book. But anyway, when I make a suggestion as an editor and I say, here, she always comes back with, here's why it's important. Here's why it's in there. Here's what I'm worried about if we take it out. So you know your voice, because someone who doesn't know their voice wouldn't be able to come back with all of that. They would just either come back with, but I like it, or their own words would get in their way and they wouldn't be able to come back and adjust in any way. Hi, no, don't come back here.
Mom, I want this, I want this, I want this.
Okay. Okay, don't, okay. All right, Piper, upstairs.
No.
I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry about all the chaos that is happening right this minute. Come on. No, Piper, go on.
He always gets his videos first.
No, you have a whole computer you can watch, okay? Go on.
No.
All right, moving on. I'm sorry. I thought that was just the story. Nope, it's the way that your voice is how you deliver your story. So think about it this way, right? If, like, hey, I'm sorry. Hey, go, please, now. Go. Piper, please. Go. Christopher, let her go. Sorry. Of course my kids have to come in and interrupt, right? Anyway. So, if we think about a book like... I'm not going to slap her. I will take care of it when I'm done here. Go sit down and watch your show. Whew. If you think about your story, right? I would not be able to tell your story the same way you can tell your story, right? I have 2 young kids myself. I understand the struggle. Whew, and I, like, when I scheduled this, as I was getting closer and closer to the time, I was like, I should not have scheduled this for now. Like, I should not have scheduled this for now. There's no way they're going to let me get through this whole thing. Eventually, we're going to be part of the online family. Yee! Hi! Hi, Hillary! Hi! How are you? Anyway, yes. So, if we take 2 stories with the same plot points, right? And we both write out a book, it's going to be 2 very different books because of our voice. Your writing voice is very different from my writing voice, which is why sometimes when I'm editing and I come up with recommendations, I always defer to the client. Like, I will say, this is what you should do. Here's my issue with it, something like that. But in the end, it's your story. It's your voice and the way you are telling your story. Doing okay designing ads as I watch you live. Oh, yay. This book list is awesome. Thank you. I worked really hard to put together like the best list of books that would be the most helpful to new authors. So thank you. Thank you for that. And now I can't believe I forgot to turn off my alarm. Don't come back here. You're naked. Because I don't know why you're naked, but you're naked. Go away.
I'm not naked.
Go away.
I'm still not naked.
Go away. Go. Christopher, I'm not kidding. Go.
I'm still not naked.
Stop. Hi. Kitty. All right. Go. Now. Go sit down. I was so nervous about this. And now, these were all the reasons why. So I'm less nervous, but all the things I was nervous about is happening. So, yay. All right. The plot thickens. Noah Lukeman. Now, one of the things that I love about this book is Noah wrote this book from the perspective of a literary agent, not an author, not a screenwriter, a literary agent coming up with, here are all the things. And as a literary agent, he got so many pitches. Of course, he would get so many pitches. I got this. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But he would receive so many queries and so many pitches that then he would go on to read the manuscript, and the manuscript would fall short. These were people who were really good at selling their manuscript, but not so good at actually selling the story inside the manuscript. And so he came up with this book, How to Bring Your Fiction to Life. And again, it's another nice short little book that fits in my coat pocket, which I love. And he just goes through various points of character development and plot development. But what I love the most is this one specifically, more than any of the other plotting ones, this one specifically talks about how to build up suspense through character interactions. And that's one of the things that I am asked about all the time is, how can I build up tension? How can I build up chemistry between characters? How can I build up suspense? Or how can I build up conflict between characters? And he specifically covers that through character interactions, which I love. Now, other books, they all talk about conflict and they all talk about character interactions, but not to the same degree that this one does. So that's how this one earned a spot on my list. All right. And the last one in plotting and process is Plot versus Character by Jeff Gerke. Now, Jeff is a Writer's Digest instructor, writer person. Like he teaches writing for Writer's Digest. So, it's already like a bucket list item for me, in case anyone was wondering, to ever be able to write for Writer's Digest. Anyway, so Jeff, if you're watching. Anyway, what I like about this one in particular, and it gives you a hint in the cover, is it's about writing a balanced plot versus character story. So it helps adding to cart. Thank you, Demi. So it helps with the idea of keeping your characters in scene and developing a strong plot that utilizes and relies on your characters, but without overshadowing your characters, so that this never happens where we see that the characters, like whenever they're talking, they're like in a blank white room and they stop interacting with their setting and they are completely removed from the plot altogether. It's like they're just floating there, and then they come crashing into the plot while that goes flying by. What are you getting into, Kat? So this is, if you are looking for a balanced approach to writing, you're not necessarily character driven, you're not necessarily plot driven, you're somewhere in the middle, but you can't figure out how to balance the two. This is a great book to help you get through that. Those are all my favorites on plotting and process. Oof. Okay. Ooh, I still got more. When I say I went through my books, I mean, I went through my books. I don't know how I'm going to get them all back into my shelves either, because what are you doing? I think my cat just came down here and just like decided to let loose some gas. I don't know what she's doing. Or it's my dog. All right. Now, once you start writing, right, then we got to get through the writing process. This is the part where a lot of us, Kitty wants to be, she does. She's like, she's knocking stuff over. She's playing with the edges of my books. She's like, love me. Love me. All right. So now we've got to we started plotting and all this. So the next step is we got to get through it. This is where a lot of us are like, we start losing our inspiration. We start losing our motivation. We start overthinking all the things. We start obsessing over our books. We start thinking that they're boring, like all this stuff. One book I use a lot is a prayer book for writers by Courtney Cleaver. Ooh, it has prayers that cover every part of the writing process and every genre. It's amazing. I am definitely going to have to look that up. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to look that up and get that one. What was the book that had what looked like lines going across it? I believe this one. The Plot Thickens, 8 Ways to Bring Fiction to Life. I think that's the one you were talking about. Yes. All right. Perfect. So getting through it. 52 Pep Talks for Writers. This one is by Grant Faulkner. And I like, of all the people who can write pep talks, I don't think anyone has ever written a pep talk like Grant Faulkner. And the reason for that is he is the executive director of NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. And if you've got a few 100,000 writers that you convinced to try to write a novel in a month, you better be really good at pep talks, right? You better be really good at getting them through it. And this book, I just love the way that it's structured. Again, all my favorite books fit in my pocket. Again, it's a neat little book that I just stick in my coat pocket and I never have very far away from me. But what I like about this one is, where's chapter 21? Chapter 21 is the one on imposter syndrome. What I like about this one is he starts off like it's, just treating imposter syndrome. Okay. It's a little write-up. Like when I say, my lights are weird. When I say pep talk, I mean literally a pep talk. It's like 2 to 3 pages per one. And then it's got a little how to get around it. Try this. So it's got a little actionable thing right at the end of that chapter that lets you, like, it talks a little bit about the mindset of imposter syndrome. And then it says, the next time you're feeling it, try this. And hopefully it works. Now, with something like imposter syndrome, with a lot of these things, actually, focus, wandering mind, too many book ideas, so on and so forth. What works for one isn't going to work for another. And I get that. And I'm not even going to try to pretend that he is the end all be all of imposter syndrome or anything else. But, when you get there, to have something like spelled out that you can try is pretty amazing nowadays. Motivation is the worst for me. I start out really excited and then lose steam as soon as I have the first chunk written. Kaylee, I feel that. I go through the exact same thing all the time. Think fast to outpace writer's block. I love that one too. Another great one is Chris Beatty, No Plot, No Problem. Now, he is the producer. Is it producer? Oh, founder. He's the founder of National Novel Writing Month. I have to run out, but I will watch the rest of your list later today. Thank you so much. This has been so helpful. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I don't know if it's Demi or Demi, but thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for asking your questions and hanging out. I appreciate it. And have a great rest of your night. Chris Beatty, National Novel Writing Month. Now, I will tell you, I love NaNoWriMo. I've been doing NaNoWriMo for 15 years. I have won for 15 years. I love it. I'll tell you, it is not. Writing 50,000 words in a month is not what makes you a good writer. It's not. Okay, it just means that you can write a lot of words, right? And technically we can figure out whether or not we can write a lot of words at any time during the year. It doesn't have to be November. The value of NaNoWriMo isn't in the 50,000 words. It's in the friends you meet, the networking opportunities, and the pep talks. Let me tell you, the pep talks. It's worth signing up just to get the emails for the pep talks so you can save those to your computer. I'm telling you now. And this book, while I do not necessarily think that you are going to get a full and complete novel in 30 days. And like I said, I have won NaNoWriMo 15 years. None of those are books that I would publish. And I've won. I've hit the 50,000 words. None of those are books that I would publish. They're either like part of books or whatever. But I do not subscribe to the idea of, sit down and write your book in 5 days or 10 days. I saw an ad come across my Facebook feed not even a full week ago that was talking about write your book in 7 days and you can no, very few people can actually do that. And the ones who do, it's because they literally write from morning till late at night. They pump out some 20,000 words a day, and they can, and they've been doing it for eons. Excuse me. So that is not why I am recommending this book. What I like about this book is for those people who want to write, but they have no idea what to write about. This helps you get started. And NaNoWriMo does the same thing. It helps you get started. It helps you sit down and go, I don't know what I'm doing. And this helps you go, you know what? That's okay. Don't stress. Let's figure out a plot. Or here's how you can start writing even without a plot and figure out the plot on the way. How you do it, which I love. So that's how this one earns a spot on my list. It's not the idea of writing a novel in a month. It's 100% the idea of how to get over the fear of not having a plot and just get started. It really sets a sour taste for newer authors to think everyone is doing it that fast. It does. One of the writers I met at the signing won Nano in 8 days. Holy wow. That is fast. But you know what? I mean, and technically speaking, if I put all my focus into writing one book at a time, I could win NaNoWriMo in about a month, in about a week. Because I usually write between 70 and 90,000 words a week, but they are across multiple different projects, not all in one. But wow. And yeah, it's not, I really hate those ads too, that are like, write your book in a weekend. No. And it makes it so much harder for new authors, exactly, for new authors who are trying to come in to feel established, or especially the ones who can't write a book in a week. Maybe a short story, right? So yeah, if you're a new writer and you come in, I've written 30K in 2 weeks. Wow. That's not sustainable for me. I get so dried out and just weary with writing. It's hard. Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why, especially if you want this to be like your career, you've got to come up with a schedule that works for you. If it's not sustainable, it's good to know that you can do it, because if you're ever in a crunch and you're like, I'm on this deadline, I got to get this going, then yeah, it's nice to know that you can pump out 30,000 words within a week or two. But if it's not sustainable, it's really intimidating for a new author to come up and be like, I can't do that. It's hard. Oh, okay. So TikTok people, you know her. I know you know her. Karina Akavane, PhD. She is the writing coach on TikTok. And this book, I will tell you right now, this is a diamond in the rough. It's probably the wrong way to say it, but it's a hidden gem. And I mean, when I say hidden gem, I mean the last time I looked online, she didn't even have any reviews out on it yet. This is, people do not enough people know about this book. So what I love about this book is that it is a tough love look at writer's block. And like me, Karina deals with people who come to her all the time saying, I can't write because I have writer's block. And they take all of the different excuses that we have for not writing, that we give ourselves for not writing, and they call it writer's block. And she just takes a good tough love look at that and say, no, it's not writer's block. It's a lack of motivation, or it's a lack of confidence in whatever process, or it's a lack of time management, or something along those lines. Which I really love that approach. I really love the tough love approach as long as the love is apparent. I don't love it when people just berate you and then call it tough love. The love has to be shown. Like the headache, Jessica. Like the headache. That was not tough love. That was just rough. And you can tell when you're reading this book, it's tough love. And you're going to be like, yeah, I do that. Okay. but you can tell that she really just wants you to succeed. Okay. Whoop. Okay. We're down to the last 2 books on my list. Oh my gosh. All right. Next. Now, these next 2 books are when you are trying to be like where the author, being an author as a career. It's not just if you plan on only writing 1 book and going, okay, great. But if you want this to be your career and this is something like you are striving to do, that's what these last 2 books are about. So, Author Branding by Shayla Raquel, or The 10 Commandments of Author Branding by Shayla Raquel. Now, what I like about this book is it talks about creating, hey, get out of the bathroom. Now, get out of the bathroom because I'm afraid of what you're doing in there. That's why. Then you can get out of the bathroom. Oh, okay. Get out of the bathroom. Okay. Shayla Raquel. She tells you not just like how to build a brand, which, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff with building a brand, right? There's logo design, fonts. You are creating, I'd be afraid of the bathroom antics too. Yeah, he flooded our bathroom like 4 times in the past week. Yeah. And then the third time he flooded it, he was too scared to tell me. So he didn't. So it sat there. Like he closed the door and then I didn't go in there for like a couple of hours. So it sat there. It was so gross. Anyway, author branding. So it goes into how to build an author brand, but she takes it a step further and talks about how to apply your author brand with consistency across all of your channels. I straight up don't believe writer's block exists. For me, it's just a reason not to write and to be afraid of the process. Now that's interesting. That is definitely interesting. So I do believe in writer's block. I just don't believe that it's a block. Like, I mean, not the way that people describe it. I think that there are various reasons why someone might feel blocked. And if they can define or identify what is making them feel blocked at that point, then they can fix it. So, for example, if they have too many ideas and they're like, well, I have too many ideas. I don't know which one to focus on. So I'm not going to do any of them because I'm feeling overwhelmed type of thing. That's one type of writer's block. Or if the idea feels better in their head, but then as soon as they start writing it, they can't seem to do justice. So they stop writing. Things like that. We all kind of just dump it into this bucket and call it writer's block. I don't believe in just a generic thing that stops you from being able to think. I'm with you there. I think that thank you for following me. Oh my goodness. Yee. I don't think that there is like this cosmic force that just blocks your brain from being able to write. I think we basically misidentify all of these things and call it all writer's block. I find that I feel the writer's block come on when I run into a plot hole. Now that's interesting too. And like you don't really know what to do with it at that point. And so you've got this plot hole. What I found for that is if you've got a plot hole and that is tripping you up, it usually means, not always. So you pantsers out there, don't yell at me. But it usually means you haven't put enough thought into the plot of your story or you're missing some piece of the structure. And if you can get down into the structure of your story, where the plot actually is, and look at the pieces, it's pretty easy to get over that one. I would agree with all of that. There's reason that makes writing difficult, but they're more like obstacles to overcome rather than a dam preventing writing from ever happening. Yes, exactly. Ah, Elizabeth. Yes. All right. So I'm glad that we had that discussion. So author branding. Yes. Now she goes into how to apply your author branding across different channels. So for example, she's got a she's got a chapter on Facebook where you can place your branding and how it comes across. On Instagram. I don't on Amazon even. Where are the different chapters? 47. Okay. I'm like, where is it? Where are all the chapters listed? Tagging other pages, which is always a good idea. Instagram, Facebook. This book is not that old. What other channels do you have? Nope, just Instagram and Facebook. Never mind. Meta. I could have sworn that she had like, oh no, website. Okay, here it is. It just wasn't all there. All right. So, the website, how to get noticed inside writing groups, how to get noticed inside readers groups, which is where we really want to be, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, what she does is she tells you, I am sorry about this, but what was the name of the book with the lines across it? I thought I wrote it down, but didn't. That's okay. You don't need to apologize. You are fine. The Plot Thickens by Noah Lukeman. I'm going to put it right here in case you ask again. All right. So when we're talking about author branding, right? We're talking about establishing an image and a reputation amongst our readers that will hopefully precede us so that when we get into, I wrote it down this time. It's okay. You're welcome. So that when we enter a new readers group, they already have an idea about us because they've seen it. And what the idea is that at some point in time, when you share a new motivational quote somewhere, right? The graphic, the font, the colors, they know who wrote it before they see the name. That's the idea. She helps you get there. And that is where a lot of times people will ask me too, like, what if I change genres, or what if I want to write in different genres and things like that. And that is how you can get around that. Brand yourself as an author. Then all of your books and all of your genres become more like subsidiaries, but you are the author, right? Everything is about you. When we think about some of the other authors who've done this successfully, right? Stephen King, James Patterson, they have books in multiple genres, but they themselves are branded. When you pick up a book by Stephen King, it doesn't matter what genre it is, you expect there to be some serious conflict between characters, some kind of fight between good and evil. You expect there to be tension of some sort. It doesn't even necessarily have to be like thriller or suspense, right? Stand By Me was not necessarily thrilling or suspenseful, but it was definitely a lot of conflict and drama, and just Stephen King. You could tell it was his. It had his voice all over it. But it wasn't exactly scary as it. Okay, I'm almost out of tea. All right. This book, I love this book so much. Every writer needs it. Every writer needs this book, whether they plan on being an author or they plan on writing for other people. And here's why. Excuse me. A lot of authors, new writers, freelance writers, everyone who sits down at a keyboard at some point in time has said, I want to make a full-time income, or I want to be able to make a living, or I want to be able to quit my day job or whatever on my writing. And that's great. That's very noble. But they never think about it as a career. They never think about the fact that that means starting a business. They never think about the idea that that means they have to treat, in order to get to that part, you have to treat the writing as a job. They like, and don't get me wrong, it happens sometimes, the fairy tale, where after, a lot of heartache, a lot of writing, excuse me, a lot of writing and a lot of pitching, someone gets their dream book deal and they get $1 million advance, and then they never really have to work again another day in their life, right? It happens. But that happens so rarely for most of us. If you want writing to become a full-time, your full-time income, you have to treat it like a full-time job. And I don't mean you have to work 40 hours a week at it, but I mean you have to treat it like you would a full-time job. That means dedicated routines, dedicated writing time, writing space that you protect, whether that's 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day or whatever. But you can't necessarily just be willy-nilly with it, because if you're going to treat it like a hobby, you're going to lose money like a hobby. I don't know about the rest of you, but my hobbies are expensive, right? I like knitting, crocheting. I like cooking, baking, and I spend a ton of money on those things and never make a dime off any of them because they're hobbies. I would really like to write for a living, not strictly fiction either. Exactly. This book goes into the business side of being a writer. Everything from why and how to separate your writing finances from your personal finances, whether or not you need an LLC. And it goes into more than just being an author, but like if you wanted to be a blogger, if you wanted to be a freelance writer, like it's literally, if you want to make a full-time income off your writing, this is how you set up a business around it. And that's what I really love about this book is it forces you to stop saying hobby is my right, or hobby is my writing. It forces you to say, or it forces you to stop saying writing is my passion, writing is my hobby, writing is my writing is what I like to do for fun, and start recognizing that hobby is a job. No, writing is your job. Like, yes, and you can be passionate about your job, but it's still got to be your job. And that means taking, going and creating a business plan, a mission statement, identifying your ideal readers the same way that a store owner would identify their ideal clients. That means learning marketing and getting your books, or getting, if you're a freelance writer or a blogger, getting your blogs, getting your services in front of the people who are going to hire you, getting your books in front of the people who are going to read them. It's all part of it. And she does a really great job of breaking it all down, all of the different pieces from like how to take a business mindset and apply it to writing query letters to agents or book proposals to publishers. Like right down the line, if you've ever thought that you want this to be your income, you need this book, and just refer to it as needed. Like I would not sit here, and I have never sat here and just read the book, because it doesn't read like that kind of a book. But if I have a question about how would I turn this aspect of what I'm doing into part of my career, this is my first reference. This is where I go to first. Does she cover it? Why, yes, she does. Okay. And that's where I go into. And this is from Jane Friedman, who I adore. She's got so many, like she's got janefriedman.com. She's got so many resources. If you are looking to write for a living, her website will really help kickstart that. And that is my entire list. Can you believe that we got through it? Did I go overboard? What do you think? I was so nervous. Where can I get your new planner? Oh my gosh. Oh, Lorraine, thank you so much. If you hang out just a little bit, you want more. If you hang out just a little bit, I'm going to be releasing my planner on Amazon sometime in the next couple of weeks. So if you want to wait, otherwise you have to go to my website, which I can't tell you right now because I am live on Amazon. And it's one of the agreements that you sign with Amazon is that you won't send people away from Amazon. So, which makes sense, right? So, I can tell you after the fact, if you really need it right now, but if you hang out just a little, like over the next couple of weeks, I am going to be releasing it on Amazon as like, it's already doing very well now with my publisher and whatnot. I self-published through Lulu. No, I didn't. I self-published through Vervante, and I'm using Lulu to help sell it. Does that all make sense? But anyway, I will be also releasing it on Amazon. And that's coming up soon. No problem. This list is an excellent place to start. Thank you for your hard work to gather this together. Hillary, thank you. I am so glad that it was helpful. I hope that hopefully everyone got at least one new book that they're like, I never thought of this before, and or this would solve my exact problem. That was my entire hope with this. Don't tell my husband I got more books. Okay, I won't. My husband already saw all the books I bought. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I need a third bookshelf that I gotta like put over that way or something. Because I have piles, and I've got more books upstairs that I really want to bring down here. But I did. Where is it? Oh, it's upstairs. I got my very first. Now, this is going to sound really weird considering my career choices and everything. I got my first Kindle not long ago, like my first official Kindle. I have been using ebook readers and or the Kindle app on my Mac for so long. And just like last week, I got my very first official Kindle. I'm stoked. I am so excited. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love hardback. These are my favorites. I love hardcover so much. But I am looking forward to being able to have more books. I can't wait to get it. I will look later. Yay! It was very helpful. I've been looking for more writing books. Oh, Spring. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you found it helpful. Thank you for talking about these books. I am putting them on my Christmas list and will be purchasing some of them. Oh, Lorraine, thank you. Thank you for showing up. I'm so glad that you found them helpful. I'm so glad that I was able to pull some out. I was really worried too. One of my nervous things that I had going on was that I was so worried that I was going to pull out books and then people were going to be like, I've already read all of these. And that I wasn't going to be able to like give anyone anything new. So I'm so glad. I love this so much, but I have to go visit my family now. Thank you for providing your time and expertise. Elizabeth, thank you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for the past 90 minutes. I've been here a long time. I appreciate your time and attention so much. This has been great. Thank you. All right. So, all that said, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. I do plan on, I think that this was great. And given the preliminary feedback so far, I think everyone else really liked this as well. My feet are asleep. They're tingling. They're tingling. I got needles and pins. Everything has been so lovely and amazing, even with the coughing and the children interrupting. So thank you all so much for hanging out. I am going to do this every week, I think. I'm going to have a new list of books for different things. I'm also going to be putting up, watch for it on my other platforms. I'm going to be putting up a form because what I really would like to do is start using this day and time to interview other authors and their books. The only caveat to that is your book has to be available on Amazon for me to be able to do that because I am live on Amazon. So keep an eye out for a form so that you can, if you have once your book is out and available, so you can join me live and we'll talk about your book and it's going to be a blast. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me on Amazon. This has been amazing, and I appreciate it all so much. Go get all the words written, and I will talk to y'all next week, okay? Bye.